you were left by your parents on your own for a period of time, and you were on a little island living by yourself. Is that right?
So technically a peninsula, but sometimes the road washed out, so it became an island. But yes, I was on the peninsula by myself. I was 16 years of age, and I lived for a bit of time in a 10-foot by 12-foot plywood boat shack that was propped up on log stilts over the high tide line. And so the water would rise under the cabin at high tide and touch the floor and then retreat away. And during storms, you thought the cabin would lift and actually float away across the sea. I had a dog with me and absolutely no people around me, and a mile walk to the nearest road, which was dirt, which you could walk along for another set of miles through a state park for quite some time before you would find somebody. And I lived there quite happily and foraged and also managed. My only access to civilization was by boat, really.
So it sounds like quite a sort of isolated time. I'm sure many people would run a mile from that. But did you quite enjoy it?
Yeah, it is. I was very young at the time, and was left in a very abrupt manner. But it's one of the experiences of my life that I'm proudest of. My mother once said she thought I had a 50-50 chance of survival there, and I did manage it. And that time alone in the woods gave me time to form a self and to think about my existence and my life and my actions in a way that was separate from other people. And I think very few young people are afforded that opportunity.
And that sense of, if not being in control, then coming to terms with your surroundings. Is there a kind of symmetry there, perhaps, with being at sea in the boat?
Yeah, I think so. I had been on a boat since I was 5 weeks of age, and there's something odd about being on a boat because you're in a confined space with a number of people, and you have no room to move and no room to operate. But then you go on deck, and you're in the middle of the closest thing the human mind can, or the closest thing to infinity that the human mind can conceive of. The sea goes on forever. The sky goes on forever. It goes on without interruption. You simply have to hunker down and survive it sometimes. Or, as my father used to say, right, the ocean is bigger than you, but you are smarter than it. You have to think very much about your knowledge and what you can do to strategically position yourself so that you have the best chance of survival. And then beyond that, you really, really have to sort of just give in and breathe. When I came ashore and lived sort of in that weird transitory space, I actually came to love it a lot more, simply because I felt more in harmony with my environment. And because I was able to walk out of my cabin and walk through the forest, versus when you're in the middle of the ocean, you don't get off the boat at all. Getting off the boat is death.
The way you live now is probably colored by both of those experiences, I imagine.
It was actually a great education to be on the water and in the woods, and to be that kind of self-reliant, and to be able to adventure, and to be able to be part of a crew, and to be able to make decisions in difficult places, and to just not be afraid of things that the average human being that you meet on the street is often afraid of. If you give up security, you can have the world. You really can.